as Meredith was saying, one of the biggest things that I was trying to come to terms with since the stay-at-home order came is trying to recreate a community with our students where they can feel that they have a place where I'm not feeling where it's just teacher-to-student interaction or student-to-teacher interaction, but where I'm creating opportunities for that student-to-student interaction so that it can be meaningful to them. And I'm sure you're all familiar with Four Corners in terms of the physical space and moving and going into there. And so what I did is there's a couple of people that I've turned to quite often, Catlin Tucker and Teresa Wills, who are out there that have, I've been borrowing and stealing resources from them, and their amazing thinking that they've been doing. So that is where a lot of this that I've seen as how to take things that we know are best practices in a physical environment and adapt them to a synchronous environment. And now how to adapt them into a physical and synchronous environment has been what's fun and challenging and an extraordinary learning opportunity for us all, right? And so what I had shared mostly as a celebration that I think Meredith was mentioning is I just wanted, when they were coming in the room on the first day of school, I was really curious as to how our friends had been and where they were coming to us, and how I could make sure to know that we're going to be doing more than just creating content knowledge with them, but also teaching them how to be thoughtful teachers as they prepare in this program. And so what I did is I made a little Four Corners activity, but that was more of a sort of a social emotional one. Sort of, these are all little bitmojis that I had created with feelings and thoughts that I had been and was anticipating that our students would have been in over the course of the last few months. And so what I asked them to do is to situate themselves into one of those four corners to find some common ground with everybody and where we are finding. As you'll see on here, and I did take off last names, Meredith, I hope that is okay. I heard you mention in an earlier meeting because it was with other instructors that was okay. So I did that for here, I took off last names. But what I wanted to celebrate mostly with Meredith and her team and my colleagues is what a celebration is. This was in the first 10, 15 minutes of class. Not one person put themselves in the help, I'm drowning. I don't know if I'm in quicksand or where I am, but I am desperate for help. Lots of them in the can't wait, more than I would have ever imagined, in like a zenned out, like I'm just given in to what we have right now. And quite a few in this sort of, I've got a million things going around in my head. So that was the first four corners that sort of I used as that social emotional learning and creating community. But as you know, there's a lot of opportunity with Four Corners of how to do this. So this one, we did not do anything more than trying to find some people that were also in our same headspace. We have since revisited that and realized that we quickly change out of those different headspaces, some more slowly than others, but we do give ourselves that time for that chance for change. So then the other place that I've seen this is I've tried to adapt this into a little bit of, I'm doing a hybrid class. And so I've used the Four Corners to assist me with some of that flipped classroom strategies that I've been doing. And so I don't know how many of you are familiar with geometric closes that normally take place in your writing as you would be reading an article, but I tried to transfer a geometric close activity into a Four Corners activity. And so for this one, they had just watched a bunch of videos on progressions of learning for specifically addition and subtraction. They had then done a lot of reading about the progressions documents. And then from that, and this is what I often do, you'll see with my Four Corners, is I have a Four Corners document that shows it big and up front so they can read the four corners that they would go into. And then I shift that and have them put themselves into one of the four corners based on that. So in this activity, because they had been reading things and I wanted to know what they were seeing from a different angle, what circled with what they already knew or brought their learning to a new circle and what was taking them to a new direction. I then took the time and asked them to give me that sort of 90 seconds to place them into breakout rooms based on the corners that they had put themselves into. And so I just put them into, there were only 3 breakout rooms that came from these 4 corners. And so I put them in there, and they were able to talk and then create some themes of things that maybe they had seen from different angles, or new directions that they were going to be taking with this information. This is for students that are actually in the classrooms right now. And so, well, not physically in the classrooms, but have their own classrooms right now. And so they were able to talk about some new directions that they were going to be able to take. So this is how I use the 4 corners as sort of in that hybrid flipped kind of version. And then I wanted to show you one more that I've done, and this is one that I did the other day in one of my 280 classes. We were talking about, this is very content heavy, we're talking about angle relationships. I wanted this to be anonymous because I was using it to gauge how I was going to move my instruction, what they recalled about angle relationships and how to define those angle relationships. Could they identify 2 angle relationships, 4, 8, or are they not even sure what angle relationships are? So at the beginning of the course, I had them do this 4 corners and put themselves into the 4 corners. You're going to see a not sure, a 1, 2, a 3, 4, and a 5 or more. And then I wanted to just show them their own little growth. And so we proceeded, and after the lesson and the sort of exploration that we did, an hour later, I had them do another 4 corners activity and put themselves where they belonged then. And so they could see the kind of own growth. Believe me, I thought about, do I move these people for this presentation and just say that maybe they all saw that? But no, there were still 3 of them that said, nope, I still only know 1 or 2 angle relationships. So that is what I wanted to share with you in terms of the different ways that I've used 4 corners, and more to show you the opportunity to do it, how you can do it to sort of do some social emotional community building within your classroom, and to talk to people, to do it to determine breakout rooms that you might want to put them into, and then to also do it as a little bit of a formative assessment piece for yourself and for the students to see their own growth and movement over the course of, a class or 2 or a semester, to see this. But also there can be some anonymity to it as well, because that I think is important.